Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices, and starting with the DAX here. We're looking for a move into the 61.8, 50 and 60% retracement level here, and the count that we have from the high here so far is the A wave, a B wave, and looking down for a C wave here in 5 waves, so 1 and 2. This one here is not quite finished yet, but then there'll be the wave 4, pulling back 38.2% of the 3rd wave, and then the 5th wave in here to make 5 of C of 2. And then we should see the market move up from that point, and that would be in line with the S&P 500 finishing its wave 4 at that stage as well. So that's quite comforting for that particular count. But I am concerned about this whole count, and it really comes from the banks being under pressure across certain countries. Well, certainly Germany and certainly Australia as well. We're seeing banks that can make new lows. And, when we look at some of these other indices here, let's just start with, say, France. It's all going quite well here as well in the same sort of vein. And we're looking for a move into the sort of just below the 4,200 here for this market as well. And then looking for a move up from there. But in a lot of cases, I've always been concerned about this particular move up through here. And as Australia has got a very clear corrective move up through here, and some of the European markets have, not so much the CAC and the DAX and stuff, but they can be construed that way as well. But when we go into some of the weaker markets, like Italy's one of them, is a good starting point here. So I mean, what I've done here, I find that I'm kind of forcing the situation to get my 5 waves up here in terms of from this low here, wave 1, A, B, C for wave 2, not a problem. But that could be A and B here as well, because really here we can start counting 1 and 2, nice 3rd wave, 4th wave, including the spike here, which I don't particularly like doing. So from wave 4 here, that just goes sort of, this wave 4 would come over onto this one here in this case, because we've got 5 waves down here. That would make 3 waves to the upside here, and then we'd be looking for 5 waves down. So if that spike wasn't there, we'd be sort of on our way, and then we have a nice 5 wave structure here. So really that's it's a bit of a call to put that sort of in place here. So it's possible that this can be an A wave and a B wave and a C wave up here. And, some markets can make new lows below here, not a problem, and some may not. Some can just sort of spike down there in having 5 waves down from here, and some not. And in other cases, like the Spanish market is under pressure. So the Ibex here. So in this particular case here, it does fit nicely as an A and a B, and then 5 waves up for the C wave there, of course, and 5 waves up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sort of forgetting about the spike a little bit. Here's the 61.8% mark here. The way that that's coming down here, it could certainly produce 5 waves, but it's not like here where it's coming straight down. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of got that arc to it. So it could find support, but it also, it's possible for it to basically just continue down below here and have 5 waves in all of that. So essentially looking for 1, 2, and other markets may not do this, but it may come and make a new low here and then find support this way. The other way is just a simple A, B, and C wave here, and this is very much like a lot of the markets really. So really what we need to do is, while this market is above the 8,000 here, we kind of got to, move this count over, in line with the other global markets as such, So, but certainly a case for a bearish pattern based on this A, B, and C here. And I think that many of the other markets can have that right through to the DAX as well. I mean, we've been trying to make wave counts fit, so that's why I'm sort of looking around. And when we look at stocks like we did, this is the Deutsche Bank here. And in this case here, once again, been looking at this as well in terms of an A and a B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the C wave here. And this can certainly looks like, because normally in a correction, wave A and wave C can have some sort of relationship to themselves. But in this case here, this is really acting like a third wave down here in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So it's going to be interesting to see this finish here as well. But, I find that very difficult to count 5 waves up here. So I would imagine this particular stock here would find a bit of a low here, come back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here, and then move down and have that 5th wave here. So that means that we have 5 waves down here, and then would move up from that part there. But even as a B wave coming into this point here, it can push up from this point after that, so I'm not really sort of quite sure. I'm just sort of shooting the breeze, but I find it very difficult to find 5 waves in this situation here, really. So yeah, I mean, you could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 there. I guess that's sort of fine, but this is really testing it, pulling it back down this far here, which is way beyond the 61.8% mark. So it's really in that sort of bearish mode there. So the other stocks, I mean, Deutsche Bank is is a biggie. The Allianz here is the biggest stock in Germany, and of course it's sort of financial, so it's going to be slightly under pressure as well, and this count that we've got up here in terms of 1 and 2 here and 3 using the spike, and 4 and 5, it's a little bit iffy, I just don't feel that comfortable with it. So it still could be counted as an A and a B and a C, and I just think we need to keep open-minded. Anyway, it's not like we're going to be trading long until we find some evidence of what's going to occur here, but even trading short, we're in a rock and a hard place here as well. Of course, we need to be on the short side, of course, because it's moving in that particular direction. But it's obviously going to meet support here and run us into trouble as well in these lower prices. So it's a rock and a hard place. But it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds here, and I'd like to see it sort of resolved so we can move on from that point there. And other stocks are the same in their own way. This particular stock here, Bayer here, as Frank would say, it's one of the main drivers in the market there. And but still, once again, from this low here, we've got 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, or it's just hard to get 5 waves in all of this. Do you know what I mean? This could be very counted quite easily as a corrective rally. The only saving grace it has here is that the move from the high here down to the low here is in 3 waves, which can make it corrective here. But let's just see how it goes. I mean, if it finds the 100 as a retested resistance, then all trades need to be on the short side. And on the long side here, any long trade here would need to have 103, the top of group 1. 3 is always the top of group 1, and finding a tested support on that is the catalyst for the upside. So over here it couldn't find support, here it couldn't find support, it retested it, which is good, it's only part of it, but it couldn't hold up there, so we'd take the high of that one. And the same in this case here, once it gets up there, will it get the high of this one? And it hasn't, done it here. And that's what that's the confirmation that it would be going higher. Once 3, wherever you see number 3, if it gets support, tested support, then it can leave the closest largest number that it was being attached to there. So, but anyway, I'll just continue to move through. I think it's a little bit probably important too. We looked at the S&P 500 yesterday in this thing as well. And we were looking, this is the S&P 500 here, so we're looking for the top of wave 3, which came in nicely. So we're looking for the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave, pulling back down roughly either to 2030 or to 2010 area. So we can see that that with the US is going to have some bearing on the European markets, as it has. Those European markets have fallen out of bed somewhat. So there's still going to be more of this sort of price action, which can take, like the Spanish market, much lower below the 61.8%. So there's that bearish connotation here for the time being. But what we'll do is we'll allow this to play out here, and then we'll see what support this brings in for the European markets as well. All right, cheers.